The slave markets of Korthak Prime were a festering wound in the galaxy's conscience, but they were also where Dr. Ethan Rivera had to go if he wanted to complete his xenobiology research. The irony wasn't lost on him studying alien physiology while surrounded by the systematic dehumanization of sentient beings. But the data he collected here could save millions of lives across the Outer Rim colonies. What he hadn't expected was to find 4 young women from different species chained together in the same holding cell, their eyes reflecting a mixture of defiance and despair that made his chest tighten with unexpected emotion. The first was clearly Lunari, her pale blue skin and silver hair marking her as one of the peaceful telepathic species from the Andromeda Drift. The second appeared to be Zephyrian, though much younger than the warriors he'd encountered before, her purple-tinted skin bearing fresh scars. The third was definitely Kristen, her translucent features catching the harsh market lights like living gemstone. The fourth was the most surprising, a void-touched human, her eyes bearing the characteristic starlight patterns that marked her as one of the rare individuals born in deep space. Fresh arrivals, the Korthakian slave master hissed through his translator, his reptilian features twisting into what passed for a smile among his species, perfect for wealthy collectors. The Lunary alone would fetch 50,000 credits. Ethan felt his jaw clench. What about all 4 together? The slave master's eyes glittered with avarice. For all 4? 200,000 credits. But I warn you, human, they are problematic. The Lunary refuses to use her telepathic abilities for entertainment. The young Zephyrian has already killed 3 potential buyers who tried to samples her. The Kristen won't eat, says she'd rather die than serve. And the void touched. He gestured dismissively. She keeps trying to access ship systems with her neural implants. I'll take them, Ethan said quietly. The transaction took less than an hour, but those 60 minutes felt like the longest of Ethan's life. When the neural shackles were finally removed and the 4 women were transferred to his research vessel, the Aurora, he expected gratitude, perhaps even relief. What he didn't expect was to find them all kneeling in his ship's main corridor. "We pledge our lives to you, Ethan Rivera," said the Lunari, her voice carrying the musical quality her species was known for. "I am Liravel, and by the ancient laws of my people, my life belongs to the one who freed me from bondage." The young Zephyrian stepped forward, her warrior's posture somehow managing to convey both strength and submission. "I am Kira Shon, last daughter of the Crimson Fleet. You have given me the chance to reclaim my honor. By Zephyrian law, this creates a life debt that can only be repaid through eternal service." The Kristen's voice rang like wind chimes when she spoke. "I am Zara Thies of the Living Crystal Collective. You have shown mercy when you could have shown greed. Our bonding customs are clear. I am yours until the stars themselves grow cold." Finally, the void-touched human looked up at him with those impossible starfield eyes. "And I'm Maya Chen, formerly of the Deep Space Mining Station, Omega-7. I've been a slave for 3 years, Ethan. You didn't just buy my freedom, you gave me back my humanity. There's only one way I know how to repay that." Ethan stared at them in growing horror. "Please, all of you, stand up. You don't owe me anything. I freed you because it was the right thing to do." Lyra Vell's silver eyes shimmered with unshed tears. "You don't understand. In our cultures, a life freely given for another creates bonds that transcend mere gratitude. We are offering ourselves as wives because, in our traditions, marriage is the highest form of honor we can bestow." "But I'm just one person," Ethan protested. "And you're 4 incredible individuals with your own lives to live." Kira-Shan smiled, the expression transforming her scarred features. "Among my people, strong warriors often share bonded partners. It is seen as a sign of the partner's worthiness. The Kristen collective practices group consciousness," Zara Thies added, her translucent form shimmering. We find the concept of exclusive pairing, limited. Maya laughed, the sound carrying echoes of solar wind and distant nebulae. And I've been alone in the void for so long that the idea of sharing a connection with others sounds like paradise. Ethan ran his hands through his hair, his scientific mind reeling at the cultural implications. This is a lot to process. I mean, you barely know me. We know enough, Lyravel said softly, rising gracefully to her feet. We know you could have walked past our cell and saved yourself 200,000 credits. We know you looked at 4 broken spirits and saw people worth saving. We know you freed us without expecting anything in return. And we know, Kira-shan added with a warrior's directness, that a man who would sacrifice his own resources to free strangers is the kind of mate worthy of our devotion. Over the following weeks, as they traveled toward the nearest Federation outpost, Ethan found himself drawn into conversations that spanned species, cultures, and worldviews he'd never imagined. Lyravel shared the telepathic traditions of her people, teaching him to appreciate the subtle art of mind-to-mind communication. Kira-shan trained with him in Zephyrian combat forms, her patient instruction revealing the philosophical depths beneath her warrior exterior. Zarathis introduced him to the crystalline meditation techniques that had sustained her through captivity, while Maya helped him understand the profound solitude and connection that defined life among the stars. What surprised him most was how naturally they all seemed to fit together, not just the 4 women, but all 5 of them as a unit. Their different perspectives created a harmony he'd never experienced, like instruments in an orchestra, each playing their part in a greater symphony. When they finally reached the outpost, Ethan realized he was facing a choice that would define the rest of his life. He could help them find new homes, new lives, new purposes scattered across the galaxy. Or he could trust in something that defied conventional logic but felt more right than anything he'd ever known. Standing in the ship's observation lounge, watching the 4 most extraordinary people he'd ever met share a meal and laugh together, Ethan made his decision. "Computer," he said quietly, "set course for the Aurora Nebula. I know a place there where we can build something new. All of us. Together." Behind him, 4 voices rose in harmonic agreement, each carrying the distinctive qualities of their species, but blending into something beautiful and entirely unique, much like the family they were choosing to become.